Let's try this again, shall we? Hello everyone, I'm Wisteria Rose, author of the new adult romantic suspense novel, Mythomania, and today I will actually be reading a few passages from this story, some of my very personal favorites. So if you haven't read the story yet, which you should, maybe skip this video because there will be a few spoilers. Nothing too huge, but just warning. Okay, so we're going to start on page 68 when Isla returns to Korea after leaving the first time. So here we go. No, you just got here. You can't leave again this quickly, he says, attempting to sound calm, but the shakiness in his voice still evident. Isla's been back together with Jaemin for less than 10 minutes, and she's already ready to pack her bags and hop on a plane again. Well, how about I go and get something to eat and wait for you to be done with practice? We can go home together, she suggests, still trying to find a way to get out of his sight. No, I want to come with you, Jaemin insists, unwilling to compromise. She's only just returned, only just stepped into his brace again, but already he feels calmer and happier than he's been in a month, the constant cloud fogging up his mind, parting just from her being near. Jaemin can't let her leave, not when he's only just gotten her back. Isla looks to Leo for support, only to be jerked back to facing Jaemin, the grip he has on her becoming more and more painful. She looks towards the boys one more time and locks eyes with Woojin, who has a perplexed look on his face. She knows that expression. He's thinking about something, running it over in his head. Woojin has always been the most receptive of the members. Why are you looking at them? He asks, suspicion rising up in him. Aren't you happy to see me? Didn't you miss me? I missed you every damn day, every moment. All I thought about was you, and you don't even want to spend time with me? No, she says, feeling small. I just don't want you to get in trouble, she says, chewing on her lip. If this keeps going on, it'll only be a moment before she starts crying and everything goes to hell. If Woojin can be an hour late to practice... I forgot this part. Because he's sleeping with some stylist, I can certainly miss the last half hour of it. His voice is cheery, but there's a clear edge to his words. The Jaemin she knew would have never spoken so brashly, especially not about his beloved Woojin. But this isn't the Jaemin she knows. Okay, let's go then, Isla relents, not wanting this to go on for even a second more. Jaemin smiles brightly and lets go of her wrist in favor of tangling his fingers with hers, leaving the practice room without so much as even looking at anyone else. The walk to the cafeteria seems to be taking forever, stark silence and the tightness of his grip being the only things Isla can focus on. She has no idea where he's taking her, half certain Jaemin will end up dragging her off to some abandoned storage closet to either murder her or rip off every piece of clothing she's wearing. Both possibilities are horrifying, and she feels herself beginning to sweat, feet dragging against the floor in an attempt to slow down Jaemin's determined stride. Despite the idol not being particularly tall, his stride rivals that of someone over 6 foot, managing to cover an incredible distance in a short time. He doesn't look at her, eyes boring straight ahead, even though she's sure he can navigate this whole building with his eyes closed and his hands tied behind his back. But thankfully, the couple arrives at a cafeteria, the space empty of everyone, even staff. Jaemin gently guides Isla to a table close to the food line, pulling out a chair for her and helping her sit down. What would you like? We mostly have sandwiches, and there might be something else hidden in the back somewhere, Jaemin says, sounding completely normal. He sat her down in a position where he can still see her, even as he rummages through the food section. Whatever's fine, she says, not feeling hungry at all. Jaemin hums, choosing a plastic-wrapped sandwich and snatching a can of Coke before sitting across from her. I'll make something better for dinner. I've been practicing more recipes, and I think I've gotten quite a few of them down-packed, Jaemin says, as Isla unwraps the food, taking a mouse-sized nibble. As she pops the tab on the can, Jaemin rests his elbows on the white table, head resting on his tangled hands, his sneaker-clad foot sneaking towards hers and trapping one of her ankles. He smiles sweetly, but somewhat vacantly at her, sending chills through her entire body. You're not eating? Isla asks. I'm on a diet. What if we shared? Isla suggests. My stomach feels a little uneasy from the flight. Not quite an entire lie. Jaemin lights up. Okay, half a sandwich won't make much of a difference, will it? He says, already taking it out of her hands. No, it won't. Besides, why are you even on a diet, Jaemin? You already look too thin, Isla points out, concerned. He shrugs and takes a large bite from the side she's already bitten off of. Needed to lose weight. No, you didn't, Isla says, watching him scarf down most of the sandwich. May I? He asks, gesturing towards her soda. I can get you a full one, Isla offers. I just want a sip. Well, okay, I guess, Isla says, watching him practically snatch the drink and down at least half of it, lips pressed against the metal instead of waterfalling it. He slides both items back over to Isla, picking up her hand and rubbing it with his thumb. You know, he says, speaking quietly, despite the two of them being the only people in a 1,000-foot radius, I almost drowned. Isla freezes up instantly, eyes blown wide. So, excuse the few times I stuttered, I'm sorry. But basically, the reason this scene is one of my favorites is just because, in my eyes at least, you can see by his small actions how much Jaemin is like obsessed with being close to her or as near her attention as possible, if that makes sense. Like wanting to eat from the side of the sandwich she's already eaten on, or take a drink from the same glass that she's drunk from, and wanting her full attention on him completely. It really shows how, at this point in the book, it's still relatively early in the story, how completely enamored, infatuated, and yandere-ish Jaemin is towards Isla. But that was one of my favorite scenes. And then I will go to another one. And I think I'll probably just do two. So let me find the next one. Okay, so now we're at chapter 12, page 122. And this is another one of my favorite scenes. I really enjoyed this. There is a little bit of a note here. I included in the beginning of Mytho, like, for lack of a better word, a disclaimer. There are certain scenes where I took some liberties with. So thankfully, in other parts of the world, people usually don't have large gaps in the bathroom stall between the door and the floor, but we do in America for some reason, and I hate it. But it brought the opportunity for me to put another one of my favorite scenes in, so I decided to kind of leave that giant gap between the door and the floor, even though I know likely it wouldn't have been in the company that they are right now, because hopefully they have full-length doors, but I had to write this scene, so here it is. Isla ignores him, clenching her fist so tightly her nails dig uncomfortably into the flesh of her palms. If she was angry before, she's livid now. Baby, don't walk away from me, please, Jaemin says, following her, completely disregarding what he's just done to her. Thankfully, there's a bathroom not too far away. Isla opens the door to the room and slides into a stall, sitting on the lid, knees pulled under her chin. The restroom door opens not even 10 seconds later. It doesn't take a genius to figure out who it is. Isla, the idol asks, slapping one of the stall doors. It's empty. Are you mad at me? Another empty stall. Isla, Jaemin's rings tap against her stall door. I know you're in there. Come out. Isla doesn't respond, burying her face in her knees and closing her eyes. She wishes that her childhood delusions were real, that the monster couldn't see you if you couldn't see it. But this is the real world. Monsters don't have talons and horns. They have disarming smiles and beautiful voices. She's suddenly overcome with an epiphany, realizing that she can't do it. She can't stand being near Matoi Jaemin for even one more second. He's just too psychotic to handle, too prone to reckless mood swings that make her fear every second that passes. No matter how much she adores him, she can't take this type of treatment. She won't. Isla opens her eyes to find Jaemin laying flat on his back on the dirty bathroom floor, staring up at her. His hands clasp the bottom of the stall door, his legs still on the other side. She's not surprised that he crawled in here with her. Isla just rehides her face, not being able to stomach looking at him. Are you cold? He asks her. I can grab you something of mine. I'd rather freeze, she says, refusing to look at him. Isla, how could you do that to me, Jaemin? She explodes, stomping her feet down on either side of his head. He doesn't flinch, eyes boring into her from below. How could you treat me like that? How could you do such a thing? How could you embarrass me like that? Jaemin is silent, not even blinking at her tantrum. I can't stand you. I'm going home, she says, standing up and reaching to unlock the door. Isla doesn't get very far at all as Jaemin's hands wrap tightly around her ankles. Let me go, Jaemin, she says, the desire to kick him in the head flaring up before she shoves it back down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, he says, frozen exterior cracked to reveal a much more desperate man. I won't do it again. Isla kicks him off of her left foot and opens the door, fighting to cover any ground as she literally drags Jaemin's body across the floor. Let go, she screams at him, trying to shake him off with all her might, but Jaemin doesn't budge at all, only drawing himself closer to her foot. Utterly furious, Isla yanks herself out of the bathroom, using all her energy to walk down the hallway, tugging and pleading Jaemin with every step. I won't do it again. I won't, he promises, digging his nails into her skin and kicking like a 2-year-old, making it nearly impossible for her to cover any ground. But she's sick of it, sick of him, sick of everything. Isla digs her nails into every door frame, refusing to give in to him again, refusing to let go and coddle him and wipe away his tears over something he caused. So there you have it. So yeah, that has been me reading 2 of my favorite scenes from Mythomania. If you haven't read it yet, the links will be down below. Please check it out and leave a review. It will make my day. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.